My fiancé announced. My past is off limits. You're not allowed to ask questions. I replied, understood. Then I stopped sharing my present and future with her too. Her panic when she realized a one-way relationship doesn't work. I, 31 male, have been with my fiancé, 29, for 3 years. We got engaged 8 months ago, wedding planned for next spring. Up until about 6 weeks ago, I genuinely thought I was marrying my best friend. We talked about everything, and I mean everything. Career goals, family trauma, embarrassing college stories, the works. So what happened 6 weeks ago? I asked a question. A completely normal question. We were going through old photos for a wedding slideshow her mom wanted to put together. She was showing me pictures from college, laughing about her sorority days, when I saw a photo of her with a guy. His arm around her shoulders, both of them grinning. I pointed at it and said, "Who's that?" Her whole demeanor changed, like someone flipped a switch. "That's nobody." "Okay, but like an ex, a friend?" She slammed the photo album shut, actually slammed it. "I don't want to talk about my past relationships. Actually, I've been meaning to bring this up. My past is off limits. You're not allowed to ask questions about it." I just stared at her. We'd talked about exes before. I knew about her college boyfriend, her situationship after that, her brief thing with some musician. She knew about my 2 serious exes. This was never a secret zone between us. "Since when?" I asked. "Since now. I'm establishing a boundary. You need to respect it." Now look, I'm not some controlling dude who needs a full FBI background check on his partner, but this felt weird. Really weird. We're getting married. We've shared literally everything. And now suddenly there's a vault I can't access? I tried to have a reasonable conversation. "Can you help me understand why? Did something happen that you're not ready to talk about? Because I can give you time if..." "No, it's not about time. It's about boundaries. My past is my past. It doesn't affect us. You need to accept that or we have a problem." The ultimatum. Accept total silence about her entire history, or we have a problem. Fine, I accepted it. But here's the thing about boundaries. They work both ways. "Understood," I said. "I'll respect that completely." She seemed satisfied, relieved even. Like she'd won something. She had no idea what she'd actually agreed to. Over the next few days, I started implementing my own boundaries. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious. I just stopped sharing. She asked what I was doing this weekend with my buddies. "Oh, just stuff." She asked about a work call I'd been on for an hour. Just work things. She wanted to know what my mom said during our phone call. Family stuff. At first she didn't notice. Then she noticed. Then she got annoyed. "Why are you being so vague?" "I'm not being vague, I'm just keeping things to myself. You know, like how you have things you keep to yourself." "That's different." "How?" She couldn't answer that. Because there is no answer. Either we share or we don't. You can't demand access to someone's present and future while locking them out of your past. That was 3 weeks ago. Things have escalated. Let me tell you what happened. Update 1. 2 weeks later. So the silent standoff continued. Every time she asked about my plans, my conversations, my thoughts, I gave her the same energy she gave me. Polite, but empty. "What did your sister want when she called?" "Just sister stuff." "What's that email about?" "Work stuff." "Where are you going Saturday?" "Out." She was losing her mind, which I'll admit, part of me found satisfying, but I wasn't doing this to be petty. I was proving a point. If she wanted a one-way relationship where she gets full access to my life while I get nothing from hers, she needed to see how that actually feels. About a week into this, she tried a different approach. The emotional appeal. "I feel like we're disconnected," she said one night after dinner. "Like you're pulling away from me." "I'm not pulling away, I'm just respecting boundaries, same as you." "But you're being cold." "I'm being private, there's a difference. You taught me that." She didn't like that at all. The next day she tried anger. "You're being passive-aggressive." "Nope, just private." "This is ridiculous. I'm asking about your day, and I'm giving you a perfectly acceptable answer, just stuff. Out. Work things. These are all answers you'd find completely reasonable if I gave them about my past. But suddenly when it's my present, you need details? That's different. You keep saying that word. I'm genuinely curious what you think makes it different." She opened her mouth, closed it, walked away. Then came the family intervention. Her mother called me. Now, I've always gotten along with her mom, nice lady. Overbearing sometimes, but generally pleasant. This call was not pleasant. My daughter says you've been distant and cold. She's very upset. I've been respecting her boundaries about privacy. I assumed that extended both ways. What are you talking about? She told me her past is off limits, so I made my present off limits. Seems fair. Long pause. Then, that's incredibly immature. She's your fiancée. She deserves to know what's going on in your life. And I'm her fiancé. Don't I deserve the same? Her past isn't relevant to your future together. Then my present isn't relevant to her either. You're twisting things. A woman is entitled to her privacy about her past relationships, and a man isn't entitled to privacy about his present? Interesting double standard you've got there. That's not what It's exactly what you said. Look, I respect your daughter. I respect her enough to give her exactly what she asked for. If she wanted openness, she'd have openness. She wanted walls, she got walls. She called me childish, said I was punishing her daughter over a simple boundary, and hung up on me. Cool. Good talk. My fiancé came home that night absolutely furious. You told my mother about our private issues? She called me. Was I supposed to lie? You made me look unreasonable. I genuinely laughed. You are being unreasonable. You want a marriage where I share everything and you share nothing. That's not a partnership. That's a hostage situation. She started crying. Why can't you just let this go? Why can't you just trust me? I did trust you for 3 years. Then you told me I'm not allowed to ask questions about your own life, and now you're upset that I'm matching your energy. You don't get to have it both ways. She slept in the guest room that night. The next morning, I noticed her phone buzzing on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. I wasn't snooping. The screen just lit up with a notification, a text from someone named "Do Not Answer" in her contacts. I didn't read it. I didn't touch her phone, but I filed that away. Who saves someone's number as "Do Not Answer" but doesn't just block them? That same day, her sister came over, uninvited, walked right in like she owned the place. We need to talk, she announced. Do we? You're being ridiculous about this whole thing. She has a right to her privacy. Agreed, and I have a right to mine. It's not the same thing. Keep saying that, doesn't make it true. Her sister actually stamped her foot. Full-on temper tantrum stomp. She's protecting herself. She's been hurt before. You're supposed to be safe for her. Safe means what exactly? She gets to hide things from me indefinitely, but I'm supposed to be an open book? That's not safety. That's control. God, you're such a typical guy, always making everything about you. This is literally about me, about whether I get treated as an equal partner or as someone who's entitled to less honesty. Sorry if that makes me typical. She tried guilt. She's been crying every night. Is that what you want? To make her miserable? I want a mutual relationship. I want to marry someone who thinks I deserve the same respect she demands. If she can't handle that, maybe we shouldn't be getting married. That landed. Her sister's face went pale. You'd really call off the wedding over this? I'd call off the wedding over the principle behind this. Yeah, she left. My fiancé came home 2 hours later, looking like she'd been crying for days. My sister said, you're thinking about canceling the wedding. I'm thinking about whether I want to marry someone who sees me as less deserving of honesty than she is. I'm not hiding anything bad. Then why hide it at all? Silence. Long, painful silence. There are things in my past that are complicated, things I'm not proud of. I didn't want them to change how you see me. Now we were getting somewhere. Finally, some honesty. What things? I can't tell you. And we were back to square one. Then I can't marry you. Not like this. I grabbed my keys and wallet. I'm going to stay at my brother's place for a few days. I think we both need space to figure out what we actually want. She grabbed my arm. Please don't leave. Please. I love you. I love you too. But love isn't enough when trust is one-directional. Figure out what matters more to you, keeping secrets or keeping me. You can't have both. Update 2. The truth comes out. I stayed at my brother's for 4 days. He was supportive but also blunt, which is what I needed. Either she's hiding something major or she has some weird control issues, he said. Both are problems. I know. So what's your actual plan? Wait, see if she chooses transparency or secrecy. And if she chooses secrecy, Then I saved myself from a marriage built on sand. During those 4 days, my phone blew up. Texts from her, calls from her mom, ignored, calls from her sister, also ignored. Her friends reached out on social media telling me I was being cruel. One of them actually said I was emotionally abusing her by withdrawing. That made me laugh out loud. Me asking for basic mutual honesty is abuse. Her demanding total access to my life while offering none is... what exactly? On day 3, something interesting happened. My buddy works at a bar downtown. He texted me, "Hey man, not trying to start drama, but your girl was here last night with some dude. Looked real cozy. Just thought you should know." My stomach dropped. I asked if he could describe the guy. Tall, dark hair, looked like money. They were arguing mostly, but then she was crying and he was holding her hand. I thanked him and sat with that information for a while. She could be meeting anyone, could be an old friend, could be innocent. But combined with the do not answer contact and the sudden secrecy about her past, yeah, the picture was getting clearer. On day 4, she showed up at my brother's place. "Please come home, I'll explain everything. I need you to promise you won't leave." I can't promise that until I know what I'm promising to accept. She took a deep breath. "There's someone from my past, someone I was involved with for a long time, longer than I told you." I waited. It wasn't a relationship exactly. He was married. There it is, the thing in the vault. For how long? 4 years, on and off. It ended before I met you, I swear. 4 years as someone's affair partner, not a fling, not a mistake. 4 years of conscious choices. 4 years of lying to someone else's wife while that wife probably sat at home wondering why her husband seemed distant. Is he the person saved as do not answer in your phone? Her face went white. How do you? Doesn't matter. Is it him? Yes, but I kept it there to remind myself not to answer. It was like a warning label. A warning label you apparently ignored 3 nights ago. That was different. He reached out first. He's getting divorced. He wanted to tell me in person that he made a mistake choosing her over me. And you thought, hey, my fiancé and I are in the middle of a crisis about trust, perfect time to meet up with my married ex-affair partner at a bar? I didn't think about it like that. That's the problem. You didn't think. I felt something break inside me. Not my heart exactly. More like the last thread of trust I'd been holding on to. So your response to our relationship problems was to meet with your married ex-affair partner who's suddenly available? I told him no. I told him I was engaged and happy. Were you? Happy? She couldn't answer. I need to know something, I said, and I need you to be completely honest. Have you talked to him since we got together? The pause told me everything. Just a few times. Nothing inappropriate. Just catching up. 3 years. She'd been talking to this guy for 3 years while we built a life together. I want my ring back. What? The engagement ring. I want it back. You can't just... I can, and I am. This is done. We're done. She completely fell apart. Sobbing, begging, promising to cut all contact, swearing it meant nothing. I'll delete his number right now. Look, she grabbed her phone. See? Deleted. It's done. He's gone. That's not the point anymore. Then what is the point? I made a mistake. The mistake was 4 years long. The mistake was continued for 3 more years behind my back. The mistake was meeting him last week while we were in crisis. And the biggest mistake was thinking you could demand total transparency from me while offering none yourself. I was going to tell you, eventually. When? After the wedding? After kids? When exactly was the right time to mention that you spent years as someone's affair partner and never fully cut contact? She didn't have an answer. That's what I thought. I let her finish crying because I'm not heartless. But my decision was made. I went back to our apartment the next day while she was at work. Packed my things, anything that was clearly mine, anything I'd bought, any gifts I'd given that I had receipts for. Left her stuff exactly as it was. I wasn't trying to be vindictive, just thorough. I left the ring on the kitchen counter. Technically, I could have kept it since I'd paid for it and the engagement was off due to her actions. But honestly, I didn't want it. Didn't want anything that reminded me of what I thought we had. The voicemails that followed were something else. Rage, then grief, then bargaining. Her mother called me a monster. Her sister said I'd regret this. Her dad, who I'd actually respected, left a message saying he was disappointed and that real men don't run from complicated situations. Real men also don't marry women who maintain secret relationships with married men. But sure, I'm the problem here. The best one was from her mother's second voicemail. You're going to die alone. No woman will ever put up with your unrealistic expectations. My expectation was literally, tell me the truth about your past. If that's unrealistic, the bar is in the basement. I didn't respond to any of them. Update 3, 6 months later, final update. I wasn't going to post again, but people kept asking for closure, so here we are. The breakup was messy. She tried to keep my things, then claimed I'd taken stuff that was hers. Fortunately, I'm not an idiot. I had photos of everything I packed with timestamps. Her lawyer, yeah, she got a lawyer, backed off when he saw the documentation. The apartment lease was in both our names. I could have fought it, but honestly, I just wanted out. Paid the early termination fee, took the hit to my credit, moved on. Sometimes the clean break costs more, but saves more in the long run. For about 2 months, there was a smear campaign. Her friends posting vague things online about toxic men and emotional manipulation. Her mother apparently told extended family that I'd abandoned her daughter right before the wedding because I couldn't handle a strong woman. The irony was thick enough to cut with a knife. I literally just wanted equal treatment. I never responded publicly. Never named names. Never told our mutual friends what actually happened unless they specifically asked me directly. Most of them did ask eventually. When they heard the full story, the tide turned. Not dramatically, this isn't a movie, but enough that I stopped being the villain in people's minds. A few of her friends even privately apologized for the vague posting. One of them actually said, I only heard her side. Wow, yeah, I'd have left too. The wedding deposits were a mess. Non-refundable venue deposit, $3,000, gone. Photographer, $1,500, gone. Her family had paid for most of it and they demanded I reimburse them. I consulted a lawyer just to be safe. His response, you're not married. There's no legal obligation. Tell them to pound sand. So that's what I did, politely. Her mother sent me a 4-page letter about how I'd destroyed her daughter's life and ruined the family financially. I kept it. Not because I care about her opinion, but because if they ever try to take me to small claims court, I want documentation of the harassment. The married guy she'd been involved with? His divorce got messy. Apparently, his wife had suspicions about my ex for years. She hired a PI during their divorce proceedings. The PI found enough to destroy any alimony claims he'd been hoping for. Turns out he'd been using their joint credit card to buy gifts for my ex during the affair. Hotels too. The wife's lawyer had a field day. How do I know this? Because his now ex-wife reached out to me. Not to be vindictive or to bond over shared trauma. She'd found old messages where my ex had mentioned me, and she wanted to confirm I wasn't the guy her husband had been worried about. Apparently, there was some jealousy that my ex had moved on to someone new. We talked for about an hour. It was surreal, but also clarifying. This woman had spent over a decade with a man who'd cheated on her for 4 years of it. My 3 years felt like a paper cut compared to her wound. I asked if my ex and her ex were together now. She laughed bitterly. For about 2 months. He moved in with her pretty quick, actually. She was thrilled, finally had him all to herself. Then he started working late again. Found messages to some girl from his office. Leopards and spots, you know? She didn't see that coming? Apparently not. Or maybe she thought she was special, that he cheated with her but he'd never cheat on her. Classic mistake. So my ex got what she wanted. The unavailable man who finally became available, only to discover that a man who cheats with you will eventually cheat on you. Poetry writes itself sometimes. Last I heard through the grapevine, she's back living with her parents. The apartment she'd shared with him was in his name. And when things blew up, he wasn't exactly generous about the timeline for her moving out. She'd burned bridges with most of her friends who'd sided with me, and the ones who'd stuck by her were apparently exhausted from 3 years of drama. Do I feel bad for her? A little. She's a human being who made terrible choices and is now living the consequences. But do I feel responsible for helping her? Nope. That stopped being my job the moment she chose secrets over partnership. As for me, I'm doing okay. Not great, not terrible. The trust issues are real. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. I second-guess things more now. Wonder what I'm not seeing. But I'm also clearer on what I want. Someone who sees transparency as a gift, not a threat. Someone who understands that real intimacy means knowing the ugly parts, not just the highlight reel. My brother asked me recently if I regretted how I handled it. The matching her energy thing, the not sharing my present. No, I said, because it worked. It showed me exactly who she was. If I just accepted her boundary, we'd have gotten married. I'd have found out the truth eventually. Maybe after kids, after mortgages, after years of building something on a cracked foundation. She gave me the exit sign early. I just had to be stubborn enough to read it. He raised his beer. To stubbornness. To self-respect, I corrected. Same thing sometimes. For everyone asking about advice, I don't know if my approach would work for everyone. Some boundaries are legitimate and healthy. Not everything needs to be shared. But when someone demands access to your life while refusing to grant the same, that's not a boundary, that's a wall. And walls don't belong in partnerships. Trust your gut, match energy, and don't be afraid to walk away from anyone who thinks they deserve more of you than you deserve of them. That's it. That's the end. Thanks for following along. Stay safe, stay smart, and stay stubborn when it matters. Peace.